absolutely right. And it was interesting the first 10 times I heard it, Jan, okay? But you are still right, absolutely right. I see it again and again. People say, oh no, we have to do this because of this process. Absolutely dreadful. So, are individuals more important than processes and tools? Sometimes it's right to have a very strict process. A company, say, like McDonald's, achieves with very little training a very consistent product. Very popular. You may have your own ideas about whether you like it or not, but it works. They have a strict procedure, strict process that people follow, and then you get teenage boys cooking meals. Who would have imagined that? This idea of blindly following processes. You may have heard me give this example once before. I introduced some software development guidelines to one of my customers. And it was in German, but the title was Software Development Guidelines. And they said, oh no, Herr Hood, we need a German word. So, all Germans speak like this, you may know. I said, okay, well, I don't know the German word for guidelines. Do you have any suggestions? Richtlinien, yeah. Difficult, that's CH followed by a T. Richtlinie, Linien. So we renamed it Software Richtlinien. And then suddenly, nobody could work. They said, oh no, but Colin, sometimes these things are not possible. I said, well, if it's not possible, don't do it. I said, no, you don't understand. If we do not follow the Richtlinien, we will lose our jobs. I said, oh, this is not meant to be like that. These are not laws. These are supposed to help you. Schade, eh? Schade. So we tried a new word, Leitfaden. And then one of the team leaders said, oh, so we can ignore them then. I was very annoyed with him at the time, but it always brings up a laugh. Let's move on to working software over comprehensive documentation. And once again, the small word over. It does not say working software instead of documentation. We're agile, we don't document anything, or we just use user stories. That's fine, that's enough. Well, often it's not. And the point, once again, is to decide what is the right thing to do at this moment. Many good processes and many good standards do not tell you how to do it. They tell you what you have to achieve and leave it to you to do this. Scrum is an example. Absolutely necessary to have requirements management, requirements engineering within Scrum. But does it tell you how to create these requirements? Does it tell you how to step-by-step improve them? Which quality criteria to use? No, it tells you you have to do it. It doesn't tell you how. And that is a strength of something like Scrum. I like this working software, the concept. You have to define the word working. How do we know when software is working? We remember it's agile, so we don't need requirements. I remember one point when I first came to Germany in 1989, which is, well, it's 20 odd years ago now. I was testing some software, and I realized in different languages there are different concepts you cannot quite translate. So I used in English language for the results of a software test, pass or fail. And I couldn't really find a single word for pass. You could say test bestanden, so we used pass. And fail, what would you use for fail? Nicht durchgefallen oder nicht? So we used fail in German. But I found a third one that I couldn't really translate into English. And that was, es sieht so aus, als ob es läuft. I thought I knew a lot about testing before I came to work in North Rhine-Westphalia. I had, around about this time, I had a project to do. It was in the automotive industry. I hope I haven't said too much saying whereabouts in Germany it is. Right, the automotive industry, there was a car control device, a Steuergerät, and it had two microprocessors in, two microcontrollers actually. And they communicated with each other on some sort of protocol that the software developer had in a very agile way, by not having comprehensive documentation, had developed this protocol for the two microcontrollers to talk to each other. And I do like to reference other talks that we've heard this week. And did you all see Joseph talking? Wasn't he great? So I've also got a little book to play with now to improve the quality of my talk. But he talked about Douglas Adams. And in this project, there was a number 42. And people said to me, Colin, if you find the number 42 in the software, do not touch it. It works at the moment, but nobody knows how. And with luck, the person who had developed this software had become old enough to now become a team leader. I did ask at the time, what are the qualifications for becoming a team leader? I said, nein, wir haben eine Warteschlange here. We've just got a queue. And he's next in line, so he became a team leader. Happy birthday, Klaus. So I did go and talk to him and try to find out, in his very, very agile way, how this worked. And he said, Colin, I never really understood it myself either. So, was it working? Well, we think it worked, but we couldn't test it because we didn't have any designs to test it against. So you could say he was a forerunner of Agile. He had working software, but unfortunately instead of comprehensive documentation. It was incredibly difficult to work on this and to test it. And I did the best I could. And on the last day, my team leader took an interest, said, okay, Colin, let's have a look, see what you've done. I had the documentation of the tests that I'd done with assumptions about what it should have been doing, and system tests against the functionality that I found, and by interviewing people, what should it be doing at all. And I'd got everything, and I'd tried to get him to look at my system test specification and say, is this okay? Instead of a requirement specification, I had a system test specification, which is quite similar. So on the last day, we sat down together, and he said, that's good. What about all the other functions? I knew nothing about these other functions, so, well. And with luck, I was old enough to become a team leader, so I moved on. No, it did work, but it was, well, the point is made, I think. Moving on to customer collaboration over contract negotiation. It's been a tough year, actually. And I think a lot of our customers have veered a little bit over more to the right-hand side of the Agile spectrum this year. But we do find people really not succeeding on this. We find customers and suppliers where the customer has written a contract really ignoring the contents of the specification. The whole point of it is to get the information across so that the supplier can produce the work. Legally, everything is very tightly bound, but there's no information in it. People were tied up in knots, but the information was missing.